Imagine for a moment that we finally did it. Humanity, in its relentless arrogance, builds a ship capable of traversing the endless dark. A ship built to carry us across the great void, past the red dust of Mars, past the swirling debris of the asteroid belt. Our destination? The undisputed king of our solar system, Jupiter. It sits out there in the freezing blackness, a swirling, chaotic sphere of gas and storms, massive enough to swallow over 1,000 Earths. It is beautiful, it is mesmerizing, but it is a trap. Any human who embarks on this journey will never return. And the terrifying truth is, they wouldn't even make it to the clouds. To understand the horror of Jupiter, you must first understand the psychology of the explorer. We are a species obsessed with planting our flags. We conquered the oceans. We conquered the highest peaks. We conquered the moon. We believe that if we can build a strong enough ship, we can touch anything in the cosmos. But Jupiter does not care about our engineering. Jupiter does not allow itself to be touched. Before you even reach the upper atmosphere, before you even see the swirling bands of ammonia and water up close, you hit the invisible wall, the magnetosphere. Jupiter spins so fast, completing a full rotation in just 10 hours, that its liquid metallic core acts as a cosmic dynamo. It generates a magnetic field 20,000 times stronger than Earth's. This field is not a shield, it is a weapon. It captures charged particles from the solar wind and from its own volcanic moon, Io, and accelerates them to nearly the speed of light. It creates radiation belts so intense that they are essentially walls of invisible fire. If a human crew were to enter this zone, even behind thick layers of lead and water shielding, it would not matter. The radiation would tear through the hull. It would rip through their spacesuits. It would unravel their DNA in a matter of hours. Their electronics would short-circuit, their navigation screens would dissolve into static. They would be left blind, deaf, and dying, floating silently toward a giant that hasn't even begun to show its true power. This is the first gatekeeper, the silent killer. But let us imagine, for the sake of the nightmare, that they survive. Let us pretend humanity builds a magical shield impervious to the radiation. The ship breaches the magnetosphere. It enters the upper atmosphere of Jupiter. Here, the sky is not black, but a hazy, turbulent yellow and brown. The winds do not blow, they scream. They tear across the equator at over 400 miles per hour. These are not localized storms. These are planetary bands of jet streams raging for centuries. As the ship descends, the crew realizes a horrifying truth. There is no surface. There is no ground to land on, no ocean to splash into. Jupiter is a gas giant. It is a bottomless pit of atmosphere that simply gets thicker and thicker and thicker. The descent begins. Gravity takes hold. Jupiter's gravity is more than twice that of Earth. Every movement inside the cabin becomes a grueling struggle. Bones ache, hearts struggle to pump blood. The psychology of the crew shifts from awe to sheer suffocating panic. They are falling into a void with no bottom. Outside the window, the sunlight fades. The beautiful bands of color are replaced by a descending gloom. The pressure begins to build. On Earth, at sea level, we experience 1 atmosphere of pressure. A few hundred miles down into Jupiter, the pressure reaches hundreds of atmospheres. The temperature, which was freezing in the upper clouds, now begins to soar. The ship is being squeezed and baked simultaneously. The hull groans. The metal strains. They are plunging into a dark, roaring furnace. Lightning strikes all around them, superbolts thousands of times more powerful than anything seen on Earth, illuminating the crushing dark in terrifying, blinding flashes. Deeper still, thousands of miles down, the pressure is now millions of times greater than on Earth. The temperature reaches tens of thousands of degrees, hotter than the surface of the sun. But it is entirely pitch black. At this depth, physics begins to break down. The hydrogen gas that makes up the planet is squeezed with such unimaginable force that it behaves like a liquid metal. An ocean of liquid metallic hydrogen, churning and boiling in the dark. If the ship somehow hadn't been crushed into the size of a tin can by now, it would hit this ocean. But it wouldn't splash. It would be violently swallowed, absorbed into a chaotic soup of protons and electrons, a fluid so alien, so unimaginably dense, that it defies human comprehension. There is no buoyancy here. There is no floating. There is no swimming back up to the light. The ship, the crew, their memories, their ambitions, their fears, all of it would be crushed into an indistinguishable speck of matter, dissolved into the very fabric of the giant. They would not just die on Jupiter. They would become a permanent, molecular part of Jupiter. But let us step back from the physical destruction for a moment. Let us look deeper into the psychological toll of such a journey. To travel to Jupiter is to consciously accept a one-way ticket into the absolute abyss. Why would a human mind, wired for survival, subject itself to this? What drives a person to look at a spinning vortex of toxic gas, a world defined by crushing gravity and lethal radiation, and say, "I want to go there"? It is the same dark curiosity that draws the moth to the flame. We are a species captivated by that which can destroy us. We stare into the void, and we demand that the void acknowledge us. We look at the Great Red Spot, a hurricane that has been raging for over 300 years. A storm large enough to swallow the entire Earth whole, leaving no trace behind. And when we look at it, we do not just feel fear, we feel awe. We feel an insatiable, fatal attraction. The psychology of the doomed explorer is rooted in a terrifying belief. The belief that witnessing the sublime is worth the ultimate cost of existence. They know they will never return. They know their bodies will be vaporized in the outer atmosphere or crushed in the liquid metallic depths. But to see it with their own eyes, to be the first and the absolute last, to witness the raw, unfiltered power of the solar system's king. That is a temptation some minds simply cannot resist. It is a glorious, suicidal romanticism. Imagine the final hours inside the cabin, assuming the radiation shielding somehow held. The communication relay with Earth takes roughly 45 minutes. When the alarms start blaring, when the hull begins to groan under the impossible weight of the Jovian atmosphere, no one is coming to save them. Houston cannot help. Mission Control is just a room full of helpless ghosts, staring at screens that will soon turn to static. The crew would be the most isolated human beings in the history of the universe, floating in a metal box, descending into a dark, roaring hell. In those final moments, there is no panic. Panic requires hope. Panic requires a fundamental belief that a way out still exists. When you cross the threshold of Jupiter, hope is severed completely. It is replaced only by the deafening roar of supersonic winds, by the blinding flash of super lightning illuminating clouds of ammonia ice. They would sit in the dimming light of their consoles, feeling the immense gravity pulling them down into the crushing deep. It would be a terrifying, beautiful surrender, a submission to a force so much greater than humanity. Jupiter is a graveyard without tombstones. It is a monument to the hard boundaries of human reach. We can send our robots. We can hurl our mechanical eyes into the storm and watch as they are slowly ripped apart, transmitting data until their final electronic breath. The Galileo probe did it in 1995. It descended into the crushing dark, transmitting for nearly an hour before the heat and pressure vaporized it. But robots do not feel dread. Robots do not comprehend the weight of their own non-existence. Humans are frail. We are made of water and calcium and fragile strands of DNA. We were born in the gentle warmth of the inner solar system, protected by a thin blue atmosphere and a quiet, predictable star. We were not built for the violence of the outer dark. Jupiter stands as a cosmic warning, a magnificent, swirling stop sign placed in our path by the universe itself. It reminds us that the cosmos was not made for us. It is vast, it is violent, and it is entirely indifferent to our curiosity or our bravery. So we will observe it from afar. We will marvel at its chaotic bands of orange and white. We will study its terrifying radiation belts and its swirling, permanent storms. We will let our imaginations plunge into its crushing depths, safely from the comfort of our pale blue dot. Because the truth remains absolute and entirely unyielding. Jupiter is not a destination, it is an executioner. And every human who reaches it will never, ever return.